What is going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Clocking Out. I'm your man with the plan, Burt McGurk, aka PR, the King of Hearts. Hold on, I got all this echo stuff going on in the background. Today, we are joined again by a guest that we had on here once before in the past. I'd like you guys to give it up for Miami Mike. What's going on, Miami Mike? How's it going, boss?
Yo, man, it's great to see you again.
How's it been? How you been? What's going on?
Man, I've been doing well, man. I'm not in Miami anymore.
What? Now we gotta change your name?
Yeah, Miami Mike's in PA now. I'm PA Mike. I'm Philly Mike.
Hey, there we go. There we go. I like it. I still like the sound of that.
Definitely.
So let's get straight into it. It is a little bit late. I do appreciate anyone who does hop in and come in and show some love to us. And if you're interested in any of the information that we're going to be talking to today, do not forget that this is all being recorded and it'll all be added to the public playlist of Clocking Out along all audio streaming platforms. So whether it's Apple Music or it's Spotify or Google Play or whatever it is, or even up on YouTube or coming to Twitch, you can come and check out any of the clips or any of the videos of the past previously recorded podcast episodes of Clocking Out. So Mike, since your last visit on Clocking Out, what has changed the most about your mindset or your mission?
Everything, man. Absolutely everything. I think everything's just progressed and moved forward, man. There's been so much change, but when you start to embrace change, man, like it starts to become like a great thing of growth and better mindset. So like everything about my life is different right now in the best way ever.
And like I feel like that's something a lot of people can say with every day, but what is it specifically in your end that you would say is something that has literally changed for you? Whether it's the way you look at things, the way you think about things, the way that you accept, whether it's something that's going on with you personally in your life, or whether it's the things that you see around you. From the last time that we spoke, has anything specifically happened that's changed anything at all for you, like that's made an impact that you could say is really stuck out, that's been a difference since the last time that we spoke?
Absolutely, all my mistakes, man, and the way that I think about the impact of my mistakes, man, and the way that I think about them now. Like I don't let them like get me down anymore, man. Like no matter what, like when you just pile through life, man, when life gets hard, like it's okay to fuck up sometimes, and it's okay to make mistakes. I couldn't say that before, man. So that mindset right there, just because of the things and the mental fortitude and the things that I've been through, that's what's really changed.
And what would you say inspired the name The Ink Shelf? I know that this is something that we spoke about. This is something that you've been putting up on your social media and everything. What inspired that name, The Ink Shelf, and how is it different from anything else that's out right now, would you say?
The name itself, I don't know how exactly it came about, but like I just been really like neck deep in like creativity. And I was trying to think of something that was more like this social thing, but this tangible thing. And the ink shelf was this place for like all the creativity that I've been focused on. I don't know. The name just came to me one day, just because I just been like so inspired by different things going on. Like, dude, I get inspired in the kitchen when I'm cooking. I get inspired when I'm writing and I'm collabing and I'm doing so many things, man. It just came to me one day, really. It just felt like the perfect thing to kind of place, man, like that tangible experience.
I feel you, man. Trust me. I get inspired by a lot of things also as well, whether it's being at work, whether it's streaming, whether it's, surfing social media, or in between breaks, from whether it's going to work or task or things that I have to do throughout the day. And I see people such as yourself, or I hear certain things that are going on. Like I always get inspired by certain things, and it triggers certain ideas for me, especially when I see other people such as yourself that are trying to be just more creative with their time and their ideas, and they're trying to express themselves in many different ways. You've described that your new gallery as like it's your new gallery is more than just a bookstore. It's an experience that you're saying, right? So how is it that you would describe the experience, or what is it or what's the experience that you're hoping visitors walk away with when they visit your gallery compared to any others?
Well, it's kind of like the same feeling like I kind of get like when I go to a like a rock show or something like that. Like when I see my favorite band play, like when I'm in the pit, man, and like really immersed in the energy and like the with the band and the people around me, man, like I get chills, right? And like I always like come back to this like same scenario where I try to draw this parallel from that and Web3, because Web3 is just kind of evolved into this bigger thing, man. But almost like the same feeling, man. And that's what I want the ink shelf to be like that feeling, man. Like we're, it's not just inspiration where you kind of come alive through some of the collaborations and the art pieces, because it's again, man, that same feeling is through art. Like my favorite bands, my favorite musicians, like these are the same feelings that I feel, man. It's like invoking that feeling, just like when you're writing.
I hear you, man, and I like that you're talking about that. And every time that you're speaking about things, you're getting deep with it because you're talking about feeling. It's not about anything else other than what you're truly feeling inside, what the experience is for you. It's a personal thing, and I see that with that you talk a lot about what you've been through and your personal experiences, what's triggered you to think in certain ways, what's made you come up with these ideas and with these goals in mind, to for you to just, you could see your passion within the things that you want to do. And every time that I hear you talk about any of your ideas or projects or anything that you're working on, it's always something connected with a personal experience that you've had, and it's deep. It's not just, okay, I have an idea or I think that I can profit off of this and make this a business, or I can do this just to pass the time and keep me busy. Like you actually feel like you have a purpose for it, and there's something that I see that it's not a selfish thing. You see that you can help other people in your journey for what you're trying to create and what you're doing and the stuff that you're sharing, because it's from your life. It's something that you've experienced firsthand. It's not just something that you saw and you're like, oh, this seems interesting, let me talk about it, you know?
Of
So
course.
with that being said, I wanted to ask you, how has living with Graves' disease influenced the way you've approached art and healing today?
Man, that's such a great question, and I really appreciate you even taking notice and thinking like that, and where I come from. Man, that is such a really deep question. I don't know, Graves like destroyed me in the best way, right? Because I think like with anything that's traumatic, like in that sense, man, can really send you down a negative path and spiral out. And I think I just did the opposite of that, where I embraced things, man, where I embraced Graves' disease. So what it's done to my thinking through like creativity, like I was on Ron's podcast, and he said something like that to me. I don't know, man. I just took all that ugly and toxic and hard times, man, and literally put it through creativity. Because again, that's the same thing that I do in the kitchen, you know, when I'm making food professionally for a living. It's the same way that I dance on my feet, man. I don't know. I think it's within me to create, man, so I can kind of heal at the same time. It's cathartic.
I love that you're saying that. It's something that I feel a lot of people can identify with, especially when it comes to people who have been through something. Like you, again, you're speaking about something that you went through personally. It's your firsthand experience. It's not something you read in a book or saw in a movie or saw in a video. It's not something you're like, oh, this is just an interesting topic and many people seem interested, let me bring more awareness. No, this is something that you're going through personally. It's affected you personally. It's something that you went through firsthand. You know the ups and downs of it. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that a lot of people, like a lot of people talk about struggling and talk about how, you know, things are difficult and it's not easy and all these things that you have to try to overcome. And they always speak about it from a firsthand experience, but they've really never been through it. Especially nowadays, a lot of people like to fake the funk of what they've been through, what they can relate to, just so that they can seem like they understand, but really they don't have a clue. And I'm always the type of person that I believe in real recognizes real, and there's no faking the funk in that, you know. And with that, I can tell with everything that you're trying to create and everything that you're sharing with everyone who's taking the time to speak with you or to ask you of what you're working on. I see that when you talk about it, you speak from a place of it, like in, it comes from the heart. It's not just you just saying things just to say it. You see that you actually care about the things that are coming out your mouth. You see that you took the time to do the research and go through it. And it's because if you would have done it, if you would have half-assed it in any way, it would have affected your life in more than just, oh, you're not getting clicks and likes and stuff. It's your
Of
health.
course.
It's your actual, you wouldn't be here. You'd be sick. You'd be a lot worse than what you are. You know what I mean? And a lot of people Many people don't understand that, and that's what I want to make sure people get, that this is something that literally, it saved your life from looking at it in a different way, from changing the way that you were processing information, that you were trying things out to see what worked and what didn't. And it's to the point that you're like, all right, I already been through enough that I feel like I have enough experience that I can share with another person that's going through the same thing, or at least that I could bring some awareness to what's going on for those who haven't experienced it, who haven't heard about it, who haven't read about it. You know what I mean? So what is it? What's something else that you've been through this experience and dealing with this process that you feel like has helped changed who you are for the better?
Man, so I used to go to these visits with my dad to the Miami Cancer Institutes when things were kind of like near the end of my treatment. And I used to sit in the cafeteria and have lunch with my father, man. And I would look around me, and there's people around me who are fighting cancer. And that really makes you think about stuff. Really puts you in a headspace and kind of a funk. And you walk into these offices and you're kind of fucking scared and you don't know what to expect, and you're seeing these different specialists and these different doctors, but you have to be open-minded, and you know that you're going to get help, but everybody else around you is really sick, and then you start to ask yourself, like, what if that's me? And that was me. I became precancerous when they removed my thyroid, and thank God they caught it before it spread, and I had to go through chemo. Lost people close to me who died from cancer. Yeah, it puts you in a different headspace, brother. It makes you think really deep about life.
In those deep thoughts, what is, again, this is me going off topic of what I wanted to talk about, but again, it's questions that are coming up based on what you're saying right now. In a situation like that, what is the most scariest thought that came to your mind at that time? And what was it that you did, or what was it that helped you overcome that fear of that thought?
I thought at one point I was going to die. I don't know, being opening about my dialogue and myself, praying with God, you know, opening myself to the topic of God. I remember there was this chapter in my book I wrote about. There was this priest who used to visit me every day when I was in the ICU for 10 days. And he used to come in my room every day and talk with me. But I had this upside down cross on my pinky, and I used to hide it underneath the blanket because I was afraid that he would judge me about it, you know? So I started to focus really on the happy things and gratitude and things that made me happy, and to kind of reverse those kind of like, fears and insecurities, because that's all they ever are. It's really just insecurities and fear. Society will use fear to weaponize you, and that's exactly what was happening. I was just eloped in fear.
You mentioned that your hustle isn't about ambition, it's survival and purpose. Can you break that down, especially after what you just shared?
Say it again.
When I asked you a few things in the DM, and then based on a lot of posts that you've had in the past, you said that your hustle isn't about ambition, it's survival and purpose.
Yeah, I think that's everything that summarizes me, right? Like everything that I do, man, is with a purpose. It is survival, right? Like, dude, ever since I was a young kid, I shared a lot of things in my memoir about one of my best friends, Frank DeLuca, that I grew up with, and I've known him for 17 years. I think everything was a grind, man. And just thinking more positive, right? And I think that's who I've always been, man, since I was like a young kid. When I was 14, 15, 16, 17 years old, man, always looking for the positive instead of the negative. So like the hustle, man, was survival, man. Everything about me has been survival, and it wasn't about this ambition. I don't know, man. It's just the way that I move, man, through life, man. I think everything that I do and every lesson that I've ever found on was always about survival, man. I think that's the truest thing about me.
Now, saying all that, and then having this be you're writing, you're creating, this is a form of art. A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people think that when someone's doing something like this, just because there's a transaction, whether it's for money or attention or time or whatever, people tend to look at it like it's not art. You're not creating nothing. People tend to forget that. It slips their mind. But
Hmm.
you're an artist. This is a form of creating. You're sharing something. This is coming from a special part in you. It's an emotional thing that you're sharing. This is something deep to you. It's not like you
Sure.
said, this is like you could have died. This is your life. So it's not, this isn't just the thing that you're just throwing around. They're like, oh, I just want to talk about it because whatever, it means something to you. On
Yeah.
top of that, you're taking the time to create something and express yourself in a certain way. How do you balance that? How do you balance making art that's personal, but at the same time balance the thought or the pressure or the idea of being judged for performing as an artist or as a person on social media expressing yourself in an artistic way? How do you personally balance that for someone else who's probably listening or watching or hears this later down the line or watches a clip that we're making? What is it that helped you make that balance between you wanting to just express yourself personally because you want people to see another side of you, or people to better understand that part of you, or maybe just understand someone like you in that situation going through that?
Sure.
What is it that helped you balance that from the personal thing of being judged to you putting out your creativity and your art and thinking about how you're going to be judged for the way you perform as an artist?
Yeah, so first thing, man, I don't give a fuck about how the world judges me, right? I'm not looking for validation, right? But it's also a paradox, right? It's a paradox in the same sense, and I'll use the explanation as to kind of lead into and answer your question. It's kind of like the paradox when I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm struggling to be an artist, right? It's the paradox of the world wanting to perceived judgment to how I act and feel. Well, through Web3, ever since I came to Web3 4 years ago, I got it just like that, and a snap of a finger. I understood Web3 and the creativity and the art, right? In that sense, like Gary has always said, like Web3 is this platform for storytelling. And it can be like Web3 is supposed to be this creative space. It's supposed to bring out the creativity. Maybe just because I lived in Miami for 4 years and I've been surrounded with nothing but creatives, and I worked in Web3 and I was just surrounded with a bunch of people, and my inner circle was just a bunch of young starving entrepreneurs. And these were the people that I surrounded myself around, because if you hang around with monkeys, you're going to eat bananas. So what I'm really saying is, if your environment is filled with that type of creativity, then that's what I'm going to seek, right? So I feel like I've already been in that mindset. I just found other people who were like me, man, and we created this thing together, man. So it's these spoken conversations over and over and over again, right? So the judgment and the fear, once again, I don't care how the world judges me, man. I love myself. I'm good with me, man. That's okay. I love me for who I am. I know I'm a good person, and then everything that I do, I'm doing it with purpose and meaning, man. Not out there to be better than anybody else, but to be a better version of Michael. Michael's come from a hard life. He's fucked up a lot. That's all that is, man. That creativity, I use it within Web3. It's supposed to be a creative space, man. What's really cool? My mom found this for me when I was a kid, man, in kindergarten, and I thought this thing was really cool. I painted this little pumpkin when I was in kindergarten. She's like, "Michael, I want you to have this," and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I remember this," and it's this cool little thing I put on my desk, and it's really cool, man. It's like this time machine, dude. When I kind of look at it, and I kind of go back into like the younger Michael, who's always been creative, who's always expressed himself, dude. I've always expressed myself when I was a child, man. Dude, my grandmother thought I was going to be a journalist. God rest her soul. And I've always been creative, man, since I was a young kid. And that's the parallel that I'm drawing from, man. I'm tapping into that little kid mindset of who I was before, man. And I'm using it inside of Web3 platforms to express creativity and ingenuity and bringing all these things together, because I want people to know that you can do that, man. Art is a book, man. This is literally art, man. That took a year and a half to write. I've been writing that since hospital beds, man. I've been writing that through the thick of it. Why? Because I want to help somebody, man. I know there's other people like me who's out there who's lost for answers, man. I've always used creativity to thrive, man. That's who I am as a chef. That's who I am as a person. That's who I am as a brother, a son. Dude, I've always used creativity to kind of progress.
I love that
Makes
you're doing
sense.
that, man. I love that you're using that as a way to express yourself, and most importantly what you said is you want to help someone else that's like you, that's going through it. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a which is why I do this. I coming up, I wanted to do, and I even still to this day, but I guess because of my age and the way things are, I tend to limit myself and tend to take that idea out. But I love music. I always wanted to be a music artist and, do rap songs and do this and that. And I did it for a good portion of my life. And then I had kids and everything. So then I started feeling like I had to stop and hold back and change the way that I did things and express myself, because I let the thought of how others would judge me because of either my age or what I was saying or how long I've been doing it for, and then you start comparing yourself to others. Like, I'm this old now and I've been doing it for this long and I haven't, you don't reach these certain things. So you start letting those things get in your head and it stops you. It starts making these walls, or it starts giving you excuses to not do it. It's no different than going to the gym and getting fit. It's no different than going in the kitchen, and whether it's you're cooking for yourself to be healthy, or whether you're just cooking in general to make some good food. You're not going to learn unless you do a few recipes and you mess up and it tastes like shit, and then you learn from it. You go back and okay, maybe I put too much salt, or maybe I didn't put enough, or maybe I didn't let it cook long enough, or then it's all those things that it goes through. You have to do trial and error. And I feel like the best way to go about that is just doing it. It's just going out there, putting yourself out there. And it's like you said, not you can't give a fuck about what anyone says or feels or thinks, or because then you're holding back. You're changing who you are for the sake of someone else's comfortability. You know what I mean? And then you have to spend this whole time with this weight on your shoulders, or this thing of like, okay, you can't be who you think you are, or you can't say what you really feel because of the expense of someone else. And it sucks. So the fact that you have that mentality because you care that much, not only about yourself, but about what you're doing, what you're saying, and all your actions. And like you said, you're coming from a good place. You're not a bad person. So there's no reason to overthink it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. If someone doesn't like it, they don't like it. At the end of the day, you rather them not like you for you being you than for you being fake. And I respect that so much more than anything else. You know what I mean? With everything that you're saying though, and wanting to just be yourself and put everything out there, at the same time, I also think like this, that sometimes not everyone deserves all of you. Not everyone deserves the good, the bad, the ugly. You know what I mean? They don't like, sometimes the temporary people in your life only deserve that temporary thing. They don't deserve all of it. And at the same time, sometimes I feel like many, not maybe it's just me, I feel like people who don't appreciate you for who you are shouldn't benefit from your experiences and what you've been through. You know what I mean? Like, in other words, if someone's not going to sit there and listen to you when you've had a bad day or try to help you through that, there's no reason for you to go through the time and effort to try to tell them something to avoid them from learning the hard way. You know what I mean? I always feel like everyone's out there trying to learn from someone else's experiences and like, okay, they made a mistake. I don't want to do what that guy did. But at the same time, I feel like if you're not really willing to listen, you're going to end up having to learn the hard way. If I'm trying to tell you something and you keep trying to tell me that you know more than me, I'm going to be like, okay, so I'm going to let you find out the hard way, because I'm trying to tell you something not to one up you, but to let you know, like, listen, there's a better way. You don't have to do that. I went through it. I did it. I made a mistake. Don't do it. With that being said, your writing walks the line between rebellion and redemption. How do you decide what to reveal and what to keep secret?
I think there's a stigma around vulnerability. In some ways, that is your duty to fiercely offer the world your love, right? There's this stigma around vulnerability. And again, man, I break the rules. Like I don't condone to society's rules. I break the rules and I bend them. Again, man, I think people will say, oh, it's a negative thing to be vulnerable. Well, who says that? Like, I can be vulnerable because that's who I am, and I want to share that side of me. I've always been like an open book because I'm not scared of judgment. And I just try to use personal lessons to relate with people in conversation or something. I love the one-on-one conversations I've done with Web3. And I believe I've always been honest with every person I ever spoke with and sharing that side. Because again, it's just like some weird stigma, man. Again, I think a lot of it's like toxic thinking. and then like I try to break that, and I'm like, no, you can share certain things. So like that fine line of I walk again, that's just me being my authentic self. So where do I choose to share? I literally, it's like turning on a light switch, man. I make that decision right there in what I say and what I want to share. Not all things are meant to be shared, but I could share it in a poetic and creativity, like a creative way, for sure. That kind of hits, right? And you want to think about how you're going to say it. Yeah, man. I try to use different things like that to express a message, especially in Web3. You can kind of bend the rules that way through creativity. It's really cool when you start to understand that.
No, and I like that you're saying that you bend the rules. It's really not breaking them or anything, but you start seeing the possibilities that you can do with things, and you start playing around with it. And I believe in
Mhm.
that also. And I hear you when you say about being vulnerable, and people looking it as a weakness or being afraid of even showing a bit of vulnerability, because whether they think they're going to be judged, or they think they're going to be looked at as weak, or it changes their credibility in a way, I guess, because they feel like people are going to judge them more on that compared to anything else. Like, you can sit there and put out a bunch of amazing, useful information. You can help someone through a bunch of stuff. You could look like the superhero, and the second that you show even the slightest bit of vulnerability, just because you want to just be human, out of nowhere, everything you did doesn't matter no more. To a lot of people, they look at it like, oh, that's it. Nope, he's not Superman no more. He can't help me. I can't listen to this person. I can't, like, and it's not true. And that's what I feel like a lot of people need to erase that out their head. I feel like because of that, it's messing a lot of people up. A lot of people that could be in better situations or in a better place, they're not giving themselves the opportunity to do that because of their fear of being vulnerable. When I feel like that's something that could really help a lot of people, especially now with everything that's going on. I think being more vulnerable in those situations where we need help or we need to express ourselves and talk, I think we need more of that, than the other thing of people being judged on it.
Sure. Well, awareness and being open minded and stop giving a fuck about what others think of you. If they don't accept you for who you are, then they're not really your friend, are they?
No.
And even at that, you still need a negative to kind of weigh out the balance of the positive, and vice versa. So you kind of need to embrace that. And I say this with a friend of mine, and it's like kind of like surfing towards the wave, man. Like invite that in, man. Stand right there and balance. That's the sweet spot.
I
That
love
really
that.
that is the sweet spot right there, man. When you stop being insecure, dude, I fuck up all the time. I'm a human being. I get it, man. I know it's scary. It's fucking scary doing what I'm doing right now, man. Standing up and building this fucking this thing that I'm like that I've created. It's fucking scary, man. But you know what? I'm like, dude, if I just give it my all, then and I'm doing it for the right reasons, and fuck every single doubt that I have, man. Like I'm doing it because I want to and I believe in it and I love it, man. So stop listening to the fucking noise.
I agree with you, man. And with all of that, what's what would you say is your most vulnerable moment while working on Get Well Soon?
Oh man, building the book, man, was tough because I went back and I wrote some other chapters. Like I started to talk about like my relationship with my dad. So you asked me an earlier question where it's hard to kind of choose. It was hard to put that in the book, man, to talk about my dad because I never been open with anybody like in a public sense about the relationship with my father. But I want this book to be honest, man. I don't give a fuck if I'm judged on it. What am I being judged on? For being Mike, for living his life, man? If you don't like it, turn the channel.
I love that. I love that.
Flip the page, man. I'm not forcing you to stay here. Yeah, I'm not holding you against your will. You chose to come here. You know,
Exactly.
you chose to come here, man. Listen, man, I'm comfortable with being me, but that was just rooted in a lot of thinking, man, when I was younger, man. I've always challenged that. Yeah, it was hard to put certain things in that book, man. I wanted that book to even be more, but an 80-page memoir is respectable because it leaves room to be this continuation if I want to continue it. And I wrote these really heartfelt chapters, man, because it was healing. It was cathartic, man. It helped me. It helped me understand to put out my own thoughts on paper and write it the way that I did, man. It was on purpose.
You have a lot of ambition, you have a lot of goals, you have a lot of fire in you, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's coming just from the kitchen and then you cooking up some stuff, you know what I'm saying? Or just everything in general that you've been through, but you're working with like 50 plus artists on the Poets.
Oh yeah.
What made you want to take on such a ambitious collaboration?
Dude, I just said that today with my friend. I was like, what the fuck did I do? What the fuck did I do? I'm like, dude, I took on all this fucking responsibility because I got to so in the headspace, man, of creating the alchemy. The alchemy. When you start to listen to the alchemy, man, it's different than producing the alchemy, like the magic. Dude, I just got so inspired from this whole entire experience. I just fucking rode that wave, dude. I'm like, dude, I like this person. I like that person. I love art. Then like one thing just grew into a wildfire. And then like, dude, I'll tell you like a name drop of like when I was just like, I was like, fuck it. Balls to the wall, dude, fucking full on the gas pedal and just going straight forward, dude. Like I was like, you know what, dude? I listened to Jeslie Itzler at VCon. I'm gonna hit him up. Like, who the fuck am I, dude? Right? Who the fuck am I? I just hit this dude up on Instagram one day. I was like, yo, I sent him this one message, like 20 seconds to retain his attention, and bang, dropped his address. I'm like, fuck, dude. If I can do that, dude, I can do anything, man. And that's when I knew right there in that fucking moment, dude. I fucking had it. What that thing that I was building was just it was awesome, man. Like it just came from the right place. It just fucking clicked, dude. So I just kept going, man. I kept riding the momentum.
I love that. I love that you're talking about taking that shot, especially when you thought it was something that was out your reach and it came out that it actually worked. Like a lot of it, we hear it a lot. Everyone says shoot your shot and send a DM. The what's the worst that can happen, and you miss the shots you don't take and all that. But a lot of us really don't go for it. A lot of us really do not. We hear it and we just look at it like, nah, you got to know somebody, or they have like a special thing, or like,
No.
and it's really nothing. It's the special thing is just having the balls and the guts to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm not gonna think that highly of myself to where, oh my god, if I mess up, like, oh, it's the end of the, like, it's like you said, who am I? Like, let me just take my shot and hit him up and see what the hell's going on, and look what came out of it. You know what I mean? From you just saying fuck it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like things like
Literally.
that. Exactly. And it's things like that that I like to share with people and I like to hear, because it really gives more than just hope. It shows that it really is possible. It really is possible. You know what I mean? If you just put yourself out there and you get over that little fear, you realize that the thing that you were scared of, it was the dumbest, smallest thing. And then when you see like, and you start looking at all the other little obstacles that are on the way that you see over the horizon coming from that goal that you're trying to get to, you realize it's just as stupid as the first one. Like, it's not that difficult. It's just the way that you're making it seem like that big bad monster under the bed in your head. And really, it's not. Like, once you do it, it's like you're flipping the light on. You realize it's not even that serious. Like, come on, like, what's stopping you?
It's not that deep, bro. Listen,
Exactly.
man. If you're fucking listening, go for it, man. Stop being fucking scared. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? Someone's gonna say no. It's a numbers game, man. Didn't we learn this from Gary Vee, man? To fucking use social media, dude. 300 people I DM'd, only 50 of those people got back to me, dude.
Still,
All I did was put in the fucking work, man.
exactly. And I fucking love that. I love that you're sharing that. And with all of this work and reaching out to people, and you have to, like you said, it's putting in the work, it's putting in the time, putting in the effort, it's understanding that out of those the first 100 people that you get, not all those 100 are going to answer, not all those 100 are going to read it and respond back, but you got some answers. After 300 something people, you got people that got back to you. You get what I'm saying?
First,
Throughout that process, what was this like? What has this collaboration taught you about trust and ego and just sharing vision with other creatives? Because I myself have been in that position and I've gotten discouraged. I've gotten to the point where I didn't get
first.
any answers, or I've been in situations where I've shared thoughts and ideas with people and then I see that they say it's no good or they don't want to do it. And then a week or a month later, they're doing the same exact shit that I told them with someone else, and they're calling it something different. And then so you deal with that. You deal with the fear of people stealing your ideas or copying you or judging you, and you know, putting out that fire that you had in your belly that was making you go, yes, I have a great idea, I could do it. What is it that you learned through the process of collaborating with these strangers or these people that you looked at that you're like, oh my God, they're so out of reach, and then when they finally answer you, you're like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? Like, throughout that whole process, what are the best things that you've learned through all that when it comes, because like again, it's trust, it's ego, it's the fear of sharing and not being understood or having your thoughts and ideas taken. Like, what was it that you learned through all that collaboration process?
Yeah, first thing, like if you want to try to take my idea or anybody out there, go for it. You know, you can't do it like me, man. You can't put in the work that I put in the work because I believe in this shit so much, man. Like you can't steal my passion and my heart, man. So yeah, when I was having like, conversations with important people in my town and shops, man, yeah, it was a little scary kind of like bringing them this business idea and then explaining myself because I was like, yo, what if this dude takes my idea? But then again, I'm like, what are you taking? Can you write a book like that? Can you write about the experience that I went through? That's what I mean, right? And I do humble myself, man. And I do check myself. So my ego is thrown out the window. I'm not better than nobody, man. I'm just trying to be a better Mike every single day, a better version of me, man. So I'm always checking my ego. I got checked so many times through what I'm building. It's not even funny. I'm stepping into a world that's so uncomfortable that you have to go full force on it and you have to learn really fast. I'm messing with something that's so important, that's so real, that I'm so new to. It's overwhelming as fuck. When you're building business with actual people, like finding the venues, man, renting out the places, like finding out about insurance, certain things you can't say. Yeah, man, I got checked through a lot of owners and I was like, fuck, man, I had to swallow my pride and shut up and listen because I realized it was helping me. I realized I was stepping into something that I needed to be real serious about what I was asking for. Yeah, man, this thing has been hard, but I'm learning so fast, man. So quick. But again, it's having that belief, man, and don't think that you know everything too, because I don't ever claim to know it all. I don't know it all, man. I don't know shit about business. I've been in sales for a little bit, and I know what I know for myself and the environment that I've been around, but I know nothing about this world that what I'm trying to create, man. And now I'm messing with business owners in my hometown. Yeah, and they're teaching me a thing or two, man. I'm real humbled by it.
What would you say with all of that that you just mentioned also as well? What would you say is one collaboration that pushed you out of your comfort zone and but it ended up being worth it?
I wouldn't really say collaboration, like anything, like because there's some collabs that I'm doing. Anything that I've done with these artists are more of a head nod, and I like to use that language. It was more of the support to have my back instead of saying a collaboration, because a collaboration is a funny word. Because none of this was a collaboration. Only a few things that I've done with certain artists was considered a collaboration. But the support that I got from all 50 artists having 50 different conversations with 50 different people and like ordering my own books, my own stock, my own supplies, calling out the distributor, making sure my books are being pressed the right way because when I'm getting them, they're all bent up, and then shipping those books from my home, man, to these artists and communicating and having all these one-on-one conversations was challenging. You know what was happening? Mike Laporta. I started to have conversations with Michael, and he started to open up about his life with me, and I was like, what is happening? Like that, I was really taken back by it, dude. And I was having these really important conversations about the things that I was going through, and I was like, man, this is so much more than me asking for a sketch or a drawing. Like now we're having real fucking conversations that speak into my heart, dude. And I'm like, dude, this is I remember being in the hospital bed and I couldn't find one person to talk about Graves' disease with because nobody else around me existed with such a dilemma or a problem. Now I'm having 50 different conversations about it, man. It blows my fucking mind.
And doing all that, you said you don't call it collaborating. So, what would you say to someone else who's an artist, who's a creator, who's just looking to express themselves like you did and is looking for those head nods and those approvals or those suggestions, or just someone who's like-minded that they can share thoughts and ideas with and bounce ideas off of,
Sure.
what would you say someone like when you started doing that, what would you say is the number one thing you think many people looking to reach out and collaborate or work or just share thoughts and ideas, what's the number one thing you think that they have in their mind that they get wrong that would mess up an opportunity speaking with someone else? It's like you said, I know one that a
Yeah.
lot of people do is thinking they know everything.
Yep.
I know that's something a lot of us do. A lot of us get into something, and just because we spent a
Hmm.
good 2 weeks going through watching videos and reading things, we think, okay, we know
Yeah.
everything. And then we come across someone that we don't realize has been in it for 20 years compared to our 20 weeks of doing some research. So what is it besides that of thinking we know everything do you think is a big mistake that other people who have the good intentions of wanting to work with others, but yet they just tend to have the wrong mindset about it?
Sure. I think most people lack awareness because you have to understand if you're stepping into this world and if you've done it before and you come from a place like I'm new to this, but what I learned real quick that you have to be very, very, very careful on what you're asking for and how you say it and be very clear because you have one shot with most of these people. A lot of these people were staple names, okay? And I had one shot and I knew that I only had seconds to grab someone's attention inside of a DM. They're getting DM'd at the wazoo, man. So I just had to be clear in my ask and making sure what I was asking for reciprocated exactly of what I wanted. So yeah, be open minded, man. Seek awareness, and like I'll piggyback on you a little bit on what you said. Don't act like you know everything, and swallow your pride, man, and be humble. Be fucking humble, man, and be clear about what you're asking for, and be kind to everyone, and be genuine.
I agree with you. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people tend to forget. It's something that easily slips our mind, is being kind, being genuine, just being true to ourselves. Sometimes we get lost in the sauce, as they say.
Hmm.
We get a little bit gassed up and big headed with the progression that we're getting, that we forget that a lot of people that are giving us the support and love and the backing that we've been looking for, people that are doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They believe in us, they believe in who we are and what we're doing, and they truly believe that we have that passion, that ambition to make what we're saying into reality. So a lot of it is off of people's just belief that we can do it just because of who we are and who we show them that the person that we believe, that we think we see in ourselves, we express it differently to people who show they believe in us. A person that listens to us and that gives us feedback when we give it our thoughts and ideas, you can tell you're going to speak to them in a different way, more adamantly about what you want to talk about, compared to a complete stranger who doesn't know you, that you're going to be a little intimidated by, of like, okay, I don't know if I should tell them everything, or is this, it's like you say, like, this person might not even give a shit of what the fuck I'm going to say. Why would they care? They don't understand. They don't know no one. And it's like you start feeling like you did in the hospital, and you're like, yo, I had no one to talk about this with. Meanwhile, you're in a hospital. You're like, you think you at
Yeah,
least find one person that can understand or relate that's going through it. So for you to be in that environment and for you to believe, oh, there must be many people, and then you're like, yo, there's no one here I could talk to, like, you still feel alone, and it sucks. You know what I mean? It's a
works.
feeling, it's a crappy feeling to get that feeling of feeling alone. um with all the things that you've been doing, creating, expressing yourself, reaching out to other creators, and sharing your thoughts and ideas and wanting to work with them, or even just being vulnerable to the fact of being judged by sharing what you want to do and your thoughts and ideas, and having people either say it's good or bad, or whether they want to be a part of it or not. What lessons from releasing your memoir and shaping, I mean, what lessons from releasing your memoir are shaping how you're launching the ink shelf?
Um, I don't know. I think like the lessons there, man. Like I just realized like there's a lot of cool things that go into writing, and I'm trying to think how to phrase this. Like when you're watching like a show or a movie, there's a certain way that they illustrate that movie or a show, and there's emotional hooks that kind of bring the reader's attention, and where I started to really like pick up on it and use it, man, and everything that I do. And it's kind of to kind of be like this anchor. It's an anchor to kind of pull you in with me through my memories, man, of illustration. And when you start to do that with writing, it becomes really fun actually. And it's really cool. So it's the same thing I do with the ink stuff, man. That creative like anchor right there is everything that I move forward with, man. And I know how to use it in a way that's creative and fun. And it's again, it relates with the same creativity of like being in Hell's Kitchen or any kitchen that I'm in. There's a lot of tricks and stuff that I do when I cook, and there's technique. That's what it is, developing technique, man.
You mentioned your creativity. Like, what's something you didn't expect when combining your creativity, your creative work with running a business? Because at the end of the day, like I mentioned before, a lot of people see the transaction and they only think about the business side of things.
Hmm.
But when I mean business, I mean in the sense of you being taken seriously, you working with, like you said, all these other artists, these other credible big names. There's a lot that comes into it. Not only are you thinking about being judged, but you're thinking about, okay, now if I do something and I'm associated with this person, they're going to judge that person for that also.
Of
Whether
course.
good, bad, like it doesn't matter. You're going to come out with a project. If you're not taking your project seriously and that person's, they're not going to take them seriously. Like, so situations like that, what are some things you didn't expect when it came to combining your creative work with running a business? Especially being that your work is something that's personal, it's something that it's something real close to you and deep. It's not just like a regular clothing brand or thing where if it doesn't work you're like, you know what, whatever, I'll just come up with a different company name and start all over. You know what I mean? This is something about you, it's your life, it's
Oh
something that
yeah.
you go through. So what is it that you would say is something that you didn't expect in all of that?
Man, there's so many things I didn't really expect. Like when you're writing a book, you have to actually ask permission for any name that you use. Do you know how many different names I have in this book and how many people that had to hit up? Dude, I had to hit up anybody from Gary Vaynerchuk to Josh Courage to Ryan to Peg Moore and ask all these folks if they were cool with me dropping their names. Yeah, and I got permission. There's a reason why I will use this as an example. There's a reason why I changed this cover to this because one of my favorite poets named McAllister, I had to ask him for permission for the subtitle. It's all worth living for. It became a mantra that I use and I talk about inside the book. Now that's a subtitle. That's actually it's all worth living for is a title by Levi McAllister, and I hit up Levi. And first, let me tell you that Levi was so kind to me that I even asked him for permission because I want to be taken serious as a writer. And he was like really taken back by it. He said, Mike, I can't believe you asked me that. Of course you can use that name. But it took a little while to get that reply to him. And I already like moved forward and I changed the cover in case he said no. And I used it in a creative way. So it was really cool because I asked him that. I sent him a book, man, and he did something really kind for me and my book. That was really cool, man. So now I got respected by one of my favorite writers because I've taken the time to make sure through everything how I move with this project is really delicate. All 50 artists, they all know exactly what I'm doing. They all knew about my event from the ticket price to everything that I've done. I've shared everything because you have to, ask for permission, man. There's a lot of responsibility. I have to protect the art as well because in a way I'm representing them as well. So there's a lot of careful steps, man, that I've taken the time with this book and this project, man, that it's overwhelmed me in the best way. So yeah, what have I learned, man? That you have to ask everyone for permission from host to communication and your business model and your plan.
That's one of those things like what we talked about earlier. It comes from firsthand experience. We
Mhm.
can talk about it, we can read it, But it's one of those things that unless we start going through the steps of the process, we don't realize that it's like, okay, it because it's me. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have looked at it like it's a book. What am I like? It doesn't matter. Let me just say something. How do they know I'm talking about them specifically? How do they know?
It's rules.
But
Yeah.
it's true. There's rules, there's guidelines, there's things that you have to
Of
go through. And with
course.
that, what I want to ask you next is it's that seems like a very intimidating process,
Oh yeah.
especially hitting up, like you said, another author from another book that you're inspired by, that you look up to. And it's one of those things that it could go either way. In those moments, was there a moment where you almost gave up? And like, what was it that pulled you out of it? Because it's me myself, like I said, I get discouraged a lot when it comes to a lot of things, and it's mostly because I really have no one personally that I feel comfortable enough, or I feel cares enough about what I'm doing as much as I do, that I can share with like a close friend or family member to be like, all right, let me get some feedback. So the only feedback I have when it comes to things is just putting it
Yeah.
out there online, and just waiting for complete strangers to either watch it or not watch it, or say something or not say something, for me to get the hint, like, okay, it's good or bad. So being that you really don't have that thing or that group where a lot of these big name brands and companies and big artists have, where they can take a book and they can take a rough draft and put it into a room of 20 people and get feedback before they'd actually put out the finished copy, what's something that you would say is a moment that almost made you feel like, what, maybe this might not happen, or maybe this isn't a good idea, or maybe I should stop, or I don't want to do this no more? Did you come across any of those moments where you almost gave up? And if so, what was it that pulled you out of it and put you back in the game?
Yeah, about 10 different times. And it happened about 3 weeks ago. I was standing in a room with this woman and who owns this store. And she chewed me out really bad. And I had to bite my lip and take it. And I felt really embarrassed. I was like, oh, I did something not intentional. But when you're in business, there are certain things that you kind of do. And I did something, I suppose, that broke the rules. And I didn't realize I did it. And I was this close to her kicking rock, telling me to kick rocks, and I couldn't do this with her. So I was like, man, this was like the third place because I had to change venues. There was this lady named Becky at Pages and Parchment. We were going to do our thing together, but her space was too small, and she loved the idea. She loved me, and the time that I already like wrote the messages with people and already explained. Where I was doing it, halfway through things changed. I went to another place, another owner, same thing. I'm sitting in a room and I'm giving him my business proposal. Says, kid, I love it, but I don't have the room for you, and I can't do it. And I'm like, well, how do I do this, right? I'm like, and there was a lot of different times that I just wanted to quit because it's so much, man. When you're working a full-time job, a 9 to 5, and then you're building this business, man, that takes up all of my time. And then for the last 3 months, I've been doing this. So then I finally found the perfect place, man. And I get there and I'm like, man, if this doesn't work out, man, because I revised the idea and I reworked the numbers and I rewrote the projections and the things of how much it was going to cost, and then presenting it and then finding the person going, yeah, I can give you this, I can give you that, I can give you all the things that you want. Then I had to figure out how to break down different time slots because I wanted to do it like with one show and like 200 people because I'm super ambitious, man. I will literally shoot for the moon. Then I'm like, oh wait, hold on, that seems cool, but what if I did something more realistic, like 140 people, which seems way more ideal, right? Because everything's a numbers game. I come from sales, besides cooking, I've done sales, I know that. So then I get to the part that's really hard, and then I order all the books and I send out all the books and I get the books back, and I'm already like in this thing so neck deep, dude. Then I get to this little dilemma where I suppose I fucked up and I was that close from losing the place. And I go, damn, that shit fucking humbled me. How did I pull out of it, dude? Dude, I just looked at it like a thing that she was trying to do to help me because what she said in the end of it, Michelle, her name's Michelle. She says, you remind me a lot about myself, through you. She's like, I've been there, kid. I understand what you're trying to do. She's like, you're just over eager. You're really excited. And I totally respect it. And she saw past that and she saw past the flaw. She's like, this, let me show you a little lesson in business. This is what you can and cannot do, and certain things you can and cannot say. This is how we move forward from this. Do you agree? Yeah, I agree. And I understand the lesson that you're trying to teach me. Being open. Yeah, you're
I
right.
agree with that, man. I think it's we have to just be okay with it. We have to be okay with accepting the fact that we're gonna be wrong. We're gonna be wrong sometimes. We're gonna mess up, and sometimes it happens while we're live, while we're in that moment, while we're in the process. There's no practice run for a lot of
But
this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So that's completely understandable. And with all the ambition and passion and everything that you have, and it's like you said, you're very ambitious. Instead of you shooting for like 100, you want to go for like 100 million, and like, you know
of
what I'm saying?
course,
So I understand that. What's like you also mentioned before that you're not creating to impress, but to breathe.
mm,
And what helps you stay connected to that purpose? And especially when the noise gets too loud, what keeps you that ambitious? What keeps you that focused? What keeps you with that mindset? Like, you know what? No, I don't. Because anyone, it's like you mentioned, you go to anyone else and you hit them with the numbers that you have in your head and the things and the goals that you've been focused on. And a lot of people will try to humble you and be like, you know what? Let's just start with 100, or let's go down to 50, or what about 20? Let's do 25. Let's focus. You get what I'm saying? What
of course.
stops you from losing that again, that fire in your belly, that ambition, that purpose that you have? Like, what stops you from being like, you know what, okay, yeah, let me lower it down a little bit, my expectations? What
Sure.
keeps you to that point where you're like, nope, nope, that's what I have in my head, I'm going for that?
Dude, sometimes you just have to go for it, right? And then you're gonna fuck up a bunch of times, right? And then you're gonna realize, okay, that's not gonna work. Let me be open-minded. What's the other thing that I can do that's a little bit more like, I don't know, like not easier, but a little bit more tangible. Like, it's a numbers game. It's the same thing where I was like, okay, 50 artists is a high goal. Like for a minute, dude, it was like I was having a conversation with my mom. I was like, yo, like she's like, how many artists did you get? I was like, oh, I got 10. I got this DM from this person and they were cool about it. I was like, 10's cool. I'm like, I'm happy with 10. If I only got 10 people, then like, dude, like we're moving forward with this thing. And then 10 became 20 and 20 became 30 and then 30 became 50 and 50 became a little bit more than 50. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's really fucking cool. So everything that I do is just like that mindset when I'm building. Like, okay, I'm like, oh, I want this really big thing. And then I'm like, all right, well, I can't do it because of certain logistics, right? So you're gonna have to solve. It's just, dude, it's my forward thinking for one as being a line cook for damn near like 20 years of my life, man, is like making a decision on the spot. That's the type of thinking that requires to be like a good chef or a good line cook, man, someone who can be quick and sharp. So there's that cool parallel that's drawn between like this business world and making decisions, making fast decisions, and adapting to the things that are uncomfortable and learning how to pivot. No one's taught me that. I taught myself how to be that way through the years. That's like the only way I know how to be. So yeah, I'm pulling from the roots of the kitchen once again. Does that make sense?
What is a piece of feedback that you got from a reader or a fan of your work that reminded you why you're doing this?
Oh man, dude, there's this really cool guy named Scotty, and he's been like retweeting all my like my messages, dude. He's always hitting me up. He's always saying like really nice things to me, and it's really cool, man. And I've taken notice through him through the V Friends community, and like, dude, he's like my day one, dude. This guy's cool, man. I love his energy and all of his support, man. And he's been there from the jump, dude. And the things that he's expressed through the platform and of social media because of the things that I'm sharing. And I suppose that he's getting inspired from it. And it's opening doors for him and he's sharing things with me. And I'm really into it, man. I'm like, dude, this is the guy, man. This is why this all matters because of Scotty, man. Because he's so devoted and he understands it. And we don't even know each other. There's this like invisible door, man, that's kind of opened up between me and Scotty, man. And I'm like, I know he gets it and I get it too, man. And that's the reason I'm doing this for Scotty.
I love that, man. I love that answer. If the ink shelf was your final project, what would you hope people say it represented?
It represented truth. Is that what it represents, man? It represents you, man. It no longer belongs to me because I wrote the book. I wrote the story. I put it into a tangible thing. Now it belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me anymore. So whatever you choose to do with it, use it as a guide. Let it inspire you, man. Let it give you some hope, man. You can do anything that you want to do, man. Stop being fucking scared of the world, man. Stop listening to the noise and the doubt. You're gonna go through that as a human being, man. But if there's anything you can kind of take away from this experience, man, just be you. Just be
I
yourself.
love that. That's actually gonna go into the next question that I have, but I'm gonna ask it anyway in case you want to go about it in a different way. What advice would you give someone that was just like you, that's out there right now, that's riding through their pain, but is unsure if anyone will care?
Mhm. Dude, just keep your heart open, man. Stop again, like stop being surrounded by the naysayers and the negativity, man. Like it's hard. If you can't change your environment, try to listen to people like Gary Vee. He's helped me so much, man, through the 20 some years that were a little bit close to 20 years that I've been listening to him. Listen to somebody, man, that speaks positivity and breathes hope into your life instead of people who just want to spit negativity and nasty stuff, man. Because if that's your environment, then that's what you're gonna kind of like you absorb, man. Reverse that right now. Okay. Start to listen to podcasts or getting really immersed inside Web3 and find more like you know what Gary says about the algorithm. You know, if you type in happy, like you're gonna get that on your feed, man. Like that's the same thing with people, man. If you're tired of the noise and like I get it, man. I love my family, man, but I go through my own toxic family too. And it's creating this boundary, okay? For one, have respect for yourself and create the boundary and really build that. And it doesn't mean to be isolated and become cynical either, man. Stay open-minded and keep surrounding yourself with people who are positive. And before you know it, man, you're gonna start thinking like that.
I'm a strong believer in that also. It's like you mentioned before, like, you hang out with monkeys, you're gonna eat bananas and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It's the same analogy,
Of course,
And
man.
I believe in that as well. And before we get out of here and I ask my last question, I want to say thank you, Mike, for once again taking the time, bro, to come on here. A lot of people, I just want to say this in general, not for anyone who's listening and anything. There are not many people that take the time to either come on here or to speak to me or to answer my DMs anymore or to give me the time of day. So I want to say thank you first and foremost for being that person, for answering my DM, for saying that you have the time, for coming on here, even for it being as late as it is, and for just sharing, something about yourself, something that you care about. Again, every time that you speak, when it comes to what you're working on, you can tell it comes from a good place, that it comes from the heart, that it's something you truly genuinely care about, that it's something that you really feel like is going to be a positive thing that's going to go out into the world, and that's why I want to take the time to do this content, to put this out there in the world, to help bring more attention to who you are as a person, what you're working on, not only because of, you're one of many amazing people that I've gotten to meet in this V Friends community, and I'm grateful for it. I learn a lot from you, from what you share, from what you say, from how you are. And I feel like many other people can benefit from that as well, from knowing your story, from seeing how you move and the decisions you make that help you move forward. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you. And as well, I'm proud of you, man. You've made a big, many people may not notice it, but a lot of time has passed by since you've last been on, since we last spoke, since we've last saw each other in person. And it's never, I can't say that I've seen anything that you've done and it be a step back. You get what I'm saying? It's always been you just moving forward. And I just want to say congratulations, man, on everything that you're doing. It's not easy. Everything that you've mentioned that you've been going through, that you've done so far, whether it's for this book or whether it's for yourself as a person and evolving and adapting to your surroundings and all these situations and everything like that that's going on. Me myself, I would have heard even half of what you've even mentioned today, and I would have been like, you know what, this is too much, I can't handle it, or it's not worth it, or it's too much of a headache, or I can't handle this by myself, or I would have came up with a million excuses, bro. I literally would have came up with a million excuses. So to see that someone like you who's going through all the different things that you've been through and you're still pushing through and you still been able to make it to where you are now, congratulations, bro, because it's not easy. So I hope that you know that yourself. I hope that you hear that when you talk to people and you share your idea. But this isn't something that's just like, all right, let me just put this in Chat GPT or put this in an AI simulator and it's gonna come out. You're speaking from the heart. You know what I mean? Every time that you're asked a question, it's not just like a quick yes or no or A and B type thing. You're literally expressing yourself. You can tell it's coming from the heart. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for expressing yourself. I want to thank you for actually sharing that part of yourself, not only with me, but for the people that follow me on my stuff, for anyone online in general, man. We need more of it. I think that we need more people who are willing to open up about what they've been through and share more about their personal experiences. So thank you for that.
Wow. I mean, thank you, man, for holding that space with me. I really appreciate you, man. And I see you, PR. I've always see you, man, and I see you doing your thing, man. And dude, just keep going towards it, man. Don't give up, man. Whatever you're passionate about and the things that you want to do. I know a lot about you. We know each other, through this community, man. It's been really cool, like understanding you, man. Just fuck the naysayers, man. It's all good, man. Keep doing you, man. It's coming from a good place.
And I appreciate that, man. Before we get out of here, I want to ask you one thing, all right? And also for anyone listening to this, watching, or anything, if you would like to get more information about Mike, what he's working on and what he's doing, make sure that you check out the description of wherever you're listening or watching this podcast episode of Clocking Out. All his contact information, whether it's social media or any links to any of his projects, will be in the description. So make sure that you go and show Mike some love and check him out. Make sure you get yourself a copy of his book. Make sure that you go and check out all the stuff that he's going to be dropping soon and all the projects and artwork that he's doing with the other 50 plus artists on the Poets. And Mike, the last thing I want to ask you, right? I want you to complete this sentence. Clocking out means blank to me.
Clocking out means, damn, I love that so much. Can I think about that for a minute, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
Clocking out means bend the fucking rules, man, and be you and be yourself, man. Fuck society and the nonsense, man. As long as it's coming from a place of love, that's all that matters.
I fucking love it. I love it, Mike. Thank you so much, Mike. Again, Miami Mike, aka the new PA Mike.
Philly Mike.
Yeah, I know, right? Philly
Yo.
Mike. Thank you so much, man, for coming on here, for taking the time to talk to me, to share your thoughts, your ideas, your experiences with us. And I'm really looking forward to what you're doing next, man. Like I said, I haven't seen, anytime I've looked at what you've been doing, I can't say that it's a step backwards or it's something that's not moving you forward. And I'm happy. I'm happy for you. I'm happy to see where you're going. I'm really excited for you to see that what you're working on. I'm excited to see that you're expressing yourself, that you're being vulnerable, you're putting yourself out there. And, I really feel a lot of people are going to benefit from this, whether they're in a similar situation such as yourself, or whether you're just looking to be inspired to just create. You know what I mean? I think you're a perfect example of that. And I just want to say thank you, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate you for everything, for real.
No, anytime, man. So anytime that you have anything else you want to come up here and chop it up, just let me know, man. I'm always down to come on here and kick it with you.
Definitely, man. I'll hit you up.
Thanks, man. Have a great night. Everyone who came in and kicked it with us, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you taking the time to come by and show some love in the chat. Make sure that you hit follow and you subscribe. Go check out Mike. Mike, are you gonna keep the name on your social, Miami Mike, or are you gonna change it? Like,
why fix what's not broken, right? I went
hey,
back
I
and
was
forth
gonna
on
say,
that.
hey, I agree with you. I agree with you.
You know me as Miami Mike. We're keeping Miami Mike.
Yeah,
You know what about Miami?
Make sure you go and check out Miami Mike. Go give him a follow, show him some love, check out his work. And remember, every little bit helps. So whether it's a share, a comment, a follow, you never know who's watching. You never know who's going to click that link. So even if you're not in a position to make a purchase in any way or something like that, it doesn't matter. Share that link, hit follow, hit like, hit subscribe, and share the love. We appreciate all the love and support we get here, whether it's for Clocking Out, whether it's for our guest speakers, anyone in the community, anyone in the chat. We're just looking to spread love. So make sure that you spread more love, put some more positivity out there. And yeah, man, I love you guys. Stay safe, stay positive, stay focused. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Mike, have a great night, man. Thank you for coming by, and stay safe, bro.
Peace.
Peace out, everybody.